Well, folks, when you and your competitors are trading off on billion-dollar business deals, things can get a little bit heated. And that happened today during the Disney earnings call when the Disney C-suite essentially took a swipe at Universal. Let's talk about it today on That Park Plays Vash. I was actually legitimately surprised by this. So this from Blog Mickey. Disney reports very strong attendance at Walt Disney World takes shot at Universal. Despite wait time data from Walt Disney World's My Disney Experience app showing a dip this summer compared to the past few summers, Disney says that attendance is strong in Orlando theme parks. Oh, for God's sake, Blog Mickey, they're talking about the spring. I'm sorry, that really frustrated me. Walt Disney World they're not talking about the summer. They're talking about the spring. It's April to June. Walt Disney World had a standout quarter according to Disney's fiscal third quarter 2026 earnings release. The company gave no specific attendance figure for the resort, though. Instead, Disney reported that global guests across its experience segments grew 4% and the domestic park attendance rose 3%. Both are blended figures that combine Walt Disney World with every other Disney park and Disney cruise ship in the portfolio. So CFO Hugh Johnston told CNBC that Walt Disney World attendance looks stronger than Universal's and Orlando airport traffic. Walt Disney World also had a standout quarter and very strong attendance. So let's see what he said here specifically. The earnings call describes global guests up as 4% compared to the same quarter last year. It's the metric management uses to summarize overall demand across experiences. Domestic park attendance, a narrower slice of that figure, grew over 3% over the same period. Disney does not break either figure out by individual park or resort complex, because of course they don't. Unless direct numbers are shared by Disney execs, there is no way to isolate how much growth came from Walt Disney World specifically. The release did offer some concrete details about domestic park spending. Per capita spending at domestic parks grew 4% for the quarter, tied to guest demand for the park's experience. Theme park admissions revenue specifically grew 9%. Disney split that growth between a 5% increase from higher average ticket revenue and a 3% increase from higher attendance. The international attendance headwinds at domestic parks continued in the quarter, but moderated compared to fiscal Q2. The release states that means there are still fewer international guests that Disney would like, but things are getting better. Disney also reported strong attendance growth. Now, CFO Hugh Johnston also went further in a CNBC interview tied to the earnings release. He described domestic performance as very strong right now and pointed to the same 3% attendance growth and 4% per capita spending increase from the written release. He then singled out Walt Disney World's attendance as particularly strong, calling it very strong attendance. Johnston drew a rare direct comparison to Universal Orlando and to reported Orlando International Airport traffic. Walt Disney World's numbers, he said, looked somewhat different from both, issuing a shot across the bow. Johnston seemed to suggest that Disney World attendance lives outside of the trends that Universal and the region as a whole are seeing, an interesting claim and something to keep an eye on. Now, Blog Mickey had previously reported on wait time data collected from the My Disney Experience app. Posted wait times compiled by Thrill Data showed June and July running 6 to 13% because the earnings call wasn't about June and July. It was April to June. Universal's own parent company Comcast has separately acknowledged Orlando-wide attendance softness during roughly the same window. Wait times and Johnston's attendance percentage aren't necessarily measuring the same thing. Wait times reflect how long Disney says a wait is for an attraction, not a raw head count. Still, Johnston's framing of Walt Disney World as a standout against its competitors sits somewhat in contrast, with data suggesting the broader Orlando market, Disney included, had a measurable slowdown this summer. So yeah, Vash, what do you think about that whole thing where and also like they were asked specifically about Epic on the on the call, and he's like, well, we said at the time that we weren't worried and we had projections and they're all 100% accurate. They were being very arrogant.
Very arrogant, yes, because I remember those earnings calls around that time, and boy, they weren't singing that tune. So now it's like, oh yeah, oh sure, we're in a fantastic position right here. I mean, like we said before, you only had to open 7 things during this quarter, not to mention all of the enhancements that you actually made to Disney Cruise Line, adding not 1 but even 2 ships, first time for this complete quarter right here. So they had to bust out a lot of stops, Marvin, to get to this point, because remember, they heard the criticism last summer of how soft it actually was compared to the double-digit gains that Comcast Universal was receiving for the opening of Epic Universe. They had no counter-programming at all to speak of when it came to the competition between the two. Now, obviously, they have all... Okay, please.
Well, I'm saying what they ended up doing was just doing a bunch of reskins and calling that a new attraction. Soarin' is not a new attraction. It's just a new movie with that they adapted the movement to. Rock and Roller Coaster was a reskin. They just basically changed the music and changed the queue and changed the interior of the attraction with decor. And then Big Thunder was a retrack. Then you had Buzz Lightyear, which did get some new stuff, which basically makes it almost like a new attraction. I will give you that one. And then you had Mandalorian and Grogu, which was again just a new movie that was being played in the same attraction. So these are not new attractions; they're just kind of new skins on attractions. And that's I think they were trying to do that as quickly as possible to make up for what happened here.
Absolutely, and they were I think in a rush to provide as much counter programming as possible, given that big chunks of the resort are currently behind construction walls. So we've got to get people in here, and so that's why you get the view of all these things at the same time. I do agree with you, not necessarily new attractions, but certainly things that they are going to put on the marquee, right? They're going to put that out in ad spend, and we've seen the social media parroting that goes on when these attractions actually go live. And so for the broader public, they can be relatively new. I think the only thing new really was Bluey's Wild World, and well, obviously that kind of fizzled out right there.
When's the last time you heard anything about that? I haven't heard anything about that in a long time now.
Yeah, so I was just talking to Jared from Capture the Magic, who actually visited very recently there, and you could basically just walk in, see Blue real fast and get out. Yeah, it just fizzled out completely once the word got out what that experience was all about, which was most unfortunate right there. But I will say, Universal, remember Comcast, they had their Q2 earnings call not too long ago right here, talking about this quarter roughly where Disney was remarking about it today. And they said that the broader Orlando market began to soften in June. So even from Comcast's own point of view, it's like, yeah, there's some softening going on. Maybe for their Q3 now will be Disney's Q4, but again, those aren't reflected here in this specific earnings call. It's April to June, so I just, like you said, Marvin, I just don't know where this narrative is coming from.
My thing is like with Blog Mickey right here, I'm just like, well, do you not understand? Like, are you confused, or is this like willful right now? Because like I really don't get it. Like, how do you not get what this quarter is if you're following this closely? But at the end of the day, also, it's not like Universal never takes shots at Disney. By the way, Universal takes very direct shots at Disney all the time.
Oh, sure.
So I mean, we're not saying this is like Disney taking a shot at Universal as like, how dare they? It's just that it happened. We're just reporting. We'll report when Universal takes a shot at them back. I mean, Universal takes some very pointed shots at Disney. Like, Disney never takes shots at Universal like in their own parks. Universal does that sometimes. Like, remember when the Men in Black ride on the cork board, it said for sale Galactic Star Cruiser lightly used.
Yes, I do remember that. I think they had the actual like name of the vessel on there as well to really kind of drive the point home right there. We saw they made fun of Disney's Disco Yeti and all of that. I mean, they've taken a number of shots at Disney. There's no question, like you said.
They brought their own Tally the Elf into the front of the park, like.
Yeah. But when Hugh Johnson says, "Oh, we're leaps and bounds over our competitors," it's like, oh, okay, yeah, with your what? At this point, 9 different cruise vessels right there, with your 8 domestic parks, with your 40 or so resort hotels. It's like, yeah, okay, of course, you're going to be way over your competitors.
But your overhead you also have a lot more overhead than your competitors too.
Sure, and I will say, when it comes to getting a film off the ground, especially an original, I think Universal, even at their state, has been a little bit more successful at that than Disney this year.
I mean, we saw the viewership statistics where Peacock is actually beating Disney Plus in originals viewership, which I was shocked at, because I'm like, what originals are on Peacock? Like, I had no idea other than like Ted. I don't think if more people watch Ted than watch like The Mandalorian, that's a problem for Disney.
That's a huge problem, yeah, but that might actually be happening.
Yeah, by the way, the Ted series is phenomenal. You should watch it. It's not for having kids around, but it's really funny. But yeah, Vash, that about wraps it up for that. Is, you know, they're reporting strong attendance, but everyone is taking the wrong message from that. It is attendance in the spring, not attendance in the summer. The summertime attendance, we're going to have to wait and see till the next earnings call. But at the moment, Disney has taken a shot at Universal, and we're going to be watching to see if Universal returns fire.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.